Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Heat's Tyler Herro hilariously distracted during interview by fight in stands. The Miami Heat defeated the San Antonio Spurs in their preseason game 120-117, but one of its biggest stories happened afterward. During his post-game interview, Heat guard Tyler Herro saw fans fighting in the stands, which distracted him and led to a hilarious exchange before he left for the locker room. "I'm sorry, I'm distracted by a fight up there. This is crazy," Herro said, via a post shared by Clutch Points on X, formerly Twitter. The Miami Heat enter the new season with the same core of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Herro, with their new addition of Terry Rozier for additional scoring. However, questions still remain about the team, whose core is certainly good enough to reach the finals but could never get over the hump. Moreover, the Celtics may have finally lapped them, upgrading their roster with the acquisitions of Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday, and Derek White, the ultimate two-way glue guy. Do the Heat still have enough firepower to get out of the East? Former coach Stan Van Gundy doesn't think so. "I really don't understand what's going on there. They're really a win-now team, which I respect, and they haven't put a roster around there that has a chance," the ex-coach-turned-broadcaster said, via Anthony Pasiala for Sports Illustrated. Heat fans might say that Van Gundy has some good points. Jimmy Butler is entering a contract year, and is now on the wrong side of 30 with a sizable injury history. He missed the first round of the playoffs last season, where the Celtics routed them 4-1. While Scary Terry also missed that series because of injury, it remains unclear if he would have made a difference if the talent difference between the two teams was too much. Bam Adebayo is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, but he probably needs more help than Butler, Herro, and Rozier can provide. They most likely will lean harder on second-year player Jamie Jaquez, Jr. and expedite the development of promising rookie Kel'el Ware. The Heat's relative lack of difference-making players might spell the difference between playoff success and disappointment, and SVG agreed. "They didn't have a great team, and they didn't have a great year. That's not a very good roster. To me, that's a play-in roster again," the coach said. No one knows what will happen next season, but the Heat's title window may have closed. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks have acquired Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, while the Philadelphia 76ers landed Paul George. A 35-year-old Jimmy Butler and Tyler Herro might not be enough to help Bam and the Heat reach the promised land anymore, despite all the fight, toughness, and funny interviews. Victor Wembanyama is one of the league's rising players, and he showed just a glimpse of what he can do during his rookie season. At his size and what he does on both sides of the floor, it's hard not to imagine him being a top player for years to come. Even though Wembanyama already surprised people last year, he's still amazing people in the preseason, including Tyler Herro. After the Miami Heat's preseason game against the San Antonio Spurs, Herro was asked about Wembanyama and what problems he presents on the floor. "Victor Wembanyama makes you bring out different things to finish over him. His length is crazy," Herro said. "Victor Wembanyama makes you bring out different things to finish over him. His length is crazy, Tyler Herro on facing Wemby rolling on the floor laughing, via at Zach Weinberger. "There were many times last year that when Wembanyama was in the paint, players would decide not to take a shot there because it would most likely get blocked. Guards like Herro will have to point their floater a little higher if they don't want their shot blocked." Eric Spoelstra identifies important key behind developing Heat chemistry. As the Miami Heat beat the San Antonio Spurs in a preseason squeaker Tuesday night, 120-117, fans got an extended look into the most anticipated aspect of the team this upcoming season. Looking at the Heat's projected starting lineup, this preseason has been a chance to showcase them to build the chemistry which was put on display in the victory against the Spurs. Miami's starting lineup played both halves of the game since it was their second game played with one another, as it consists of Terry Rozier, Tyler Herro, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic, and Bam Adebayo. While they came out during the Heat's home preseason opener against the Pelicans Sunday, it led to middling results compared to Tuesday, which saw a more cohesive unit to the approval of head coach Erik Spoelstra. "Yeah, I like it, but who cares what the head coach thinks they like it," Spoelstra said. "They're comfortable, they're gaining confidence, and the most important thing is they're intentional about the work and the process of putting this, together just to start the season, and then we'll see what happens once we get into it, and we'll have to figure things out. But I love the intent so far." Erik Spoelstra on the starting five and their improved performance tonight. "I like it, but who cares what the head coach thinks, they like it, they're comfortable." It was a stark contrast from last game where, due to it being their first game together, aspects were jumbled until it became better later in the contest. Tuesday, the starting five flowed in transition better, knew each other's strengths, found the right spots for buckets, and more. Besides the main two stars in Butler and Adebayo, a key part of the starting five to get antiquated is Rozier, who was acquired at the trade deadline last season and missed the last 11 games of the season with a neck issue. Having the full offseason to recover and get extended minutes in each preseason game, he spoke highly of the chemistry between everybody and the time used to recover. "It feels great," Rozier said. "I think we've been building great relationships since Bahamas. Just focused on getting my wind up, because I know everything else to take care of itself." "Oh yeah, definitely," Rozier said when asked if the offseason was an ample opportunity to get his bearings straight. "Got a lot of time to really get our bodies right, get our minds right. So, now we here, it's time to go. I think we all got one thing and goal in mind, so that's what we want to do." Ex-Heat coach criticizes Miami's front office for false sense of security. Between the infamous coaching tenures of Pat Riley and Erik Spoelstra, the Miami Heat were led by Stan Van Gundy for a few years. He led the Heat to a successful campaign in 2005, where the team finished with a record of 59-23. Van Gundy remains close with Miami's team president, leaving his recent remark about their woes in the front office as a bit of a shock. "I really don't understand what's going on there," Van Gundy began during a TNT conference call. "They're really a win-now team, which I respect, and they haven't put a roster around there that has a chance. I think they got lulled into a false sense of security by the run to the finals 2 years ago." Van Gundy proposes valid points. Veteran star Jimmy Butler, being at the helm, puts them in no other position but to contend for a title. The lack of major acquisitions since acquiring Butler in 2019, however, reflects quite the opposite. Guards Goran Dragic and Terry Rozier are two of the biggest names brought in, but neither are team-shifting players. "And it was a great run, but they didn't have a great team, and they didn't have a great year," Van Gundy said. "That's not a very good roster. To me, that's a play-in roster again." And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Stan Van Gundy? Leave your opinion in the comments.